Hello students, this is our next lecture on inflammation. In this lecture we will be starting with the acute inflammation. As we had discussed earlier, there are two types of inflammation. That is, the first one is acute inflammation and the second one is chronic inflammation. Now today we are going to start about the acute inflammation. Firstly, starting with the features of acute inflammation. So firstly, the main features of acute inflammations are as follow. The first one is accumulations of fluid and plasma at the affected site. Here in the figure, you can see that the above one is the normal one, while in the below image, you can see that the microvasculature has been widened because of the accumulations of fluid and plasma at that affected site. Another is intravascular activation of platelets. You can see that the numbers of platelets have been increased because of its activation, because there is the injury and due to the inflammatory response there is the activation of platelets. It is a characteristic feature of acute inflammation. Another is polymorph nuclear neutrophils as inflammatory cell. Here the inflammatory cells are neutrophils, and which type? The polymorph nucleotype neutrophils are as inflammatory cells. Now next we are moving forward is about the mechanism of acute inflammation. What is the basic mechanism of acute inflammation? Now here mechanism has been divided into two events, that is vascular events and cellular events. These two events followed intermittently, and this is by release of various chemical mediators of acute inflammation. Now firstly we will be going to see about the vascular events. Vascular events is all about the alteration in the microvasculature. Which type of alterations we can see in the microvasculature is called vascular events. Now this vascular events is again divided into two phases. That is, first one is hemodynamic changes and second one is alteration in vascular permeability. First we will be continue with the hemodynamic changes. Okay, so hemodynamic changes, it is again divided into 5 various stages. The first one is transient vasoconstriction. First change that is observed in hemodynamic is transient vasoconstriction. Here in the figure you can see that there is a sphincter. Sphincter is the sign of the constriction. After sphincter you can see that here is the low blood flow. Ultimately it resulting in the very less blood flow in the next area. This is called as transient vasoconstriction response. This is very immediate vascular response, and that is irrespective of any type of inflammation or injury. This happens mainly into the arterioles. As we had discussed it is in microvasculature. Okay, so microvasculature involves the three types, that is arterioles, venules and capillaries. So this transient vasoconstriction happens mainly into the arterioles, and in mild injury it lasts for the 3 to 5 seconds, and after 3 to 5 seconds the re-establishment of blood flow is there. While when the injury is severe, at a time it takes 5 minutes to re-establish the blood flow, means this transient vasoconstriction lasts for the 5 minutes. Next stage is persistent progressive vasodilation. This mainly happens into the arterioles again. Others are lesser extent, means it affects the lesser extent to the others. Now this process is obvious in any injury within the half an hour of the injury. Now here you can see that as there is the persistent progressive vasodilation, here is the increased blood flow. Now as a result the ultimate flow is also increased in the microvascular bed area. Okay, and as there is the increased blood flow in those areas, you can feel redness and warmth in that area. Now next we are going to see about the next stage is progressive vasodilation. Progressive vasodilation, that is when there is a progressive vasodilation, means the vasodilation continues progressively. There will be the elevated local hydrostatic pressure due to the increased blood flow and increased plasma accumulation. So due to this there will be the hydrostatic pressure will be elevated, okay, but that will be the local action because it is always the inflammation is always a local response. So here hemodynamic changes are also occurring locally, so the hydrostatic pressure is also increased in that local area only. Now when the hydrostatic pressure has been increased, there will be the transudation of fluid into the extracellular space, okay. So here due to this transudation of fluid in extracellular space, there we can see the swelling. So here you can see into the 2 and 3 stages you can have the signs of inflammation, that is redness, pain, and third is a swelling. Now after this third stage, the 4 stages of slowing and stasis. The 4 stages of slowing and stasis. In that, due to increased transudation of fluid into extracellular fluid, there will be raised concentration of red blood cells in the blood. Because of the loss of plasma, there will be the increased concentration of red blood cells. What happens here? When the plasma is removed, the cells concentration being increased, there will be the increased concentration of red blood cells in the blood, and this will increase the blood viscosity. As now viscosity is increased, we know that in any fluid we can see that if the viscosity increases, the flow slow down. So here when the viscosity of blood is getting increased, the flow of blood is getting slow. That's why this stage is known as slowing or stasis. Now after this stage, the 5th stage, that is the leukocyte migration. In this, the leukocyte migrates along with the vascular endothelium. They stick to it, they briefly adhere to it, they move on that, and after that when they find a gap in between the endothelial cell, they escape from that gaps in the extravascular space. This is known as immigration. This immigration stage we are going to see in detail in our next cellular events. But up to this is what a short description of immigration, that is leukocyte migration. So with this the hemodynamic changes gets over. Now the next is altered vascular permeability. Now in vascular events, the another event is altered vascular permeability. What happens in the altered vascular permeability? In this, the permeability of the vasculature get increased, okay, as we have seen that accumulation of edema means fluid is there, edema is there, okay, and escape of fluid due to vasodilation is seen due to the elevated hydrostatic pressure, that is called as transudate, okay, and subsequently the inflammatory edema appears by increased vascular permeability of microcirculation, that is called as exudate. Now what are the main mechanism behind this? Okay, so here are the 5 possible mechanisms. Possible, why possible? Because this all mechanism does not happen in every increased vascular permeability, but increased vascular permeability can be because of these 5 mechanisms, okay. Either of these can be there, or 2 of these or 3 of these simultaneously can also be there for the possible mechanism of increased vascular permeability. What are these 5 mechanisms? So contraction of endothelial cells, retraction of endothelial cell, direct injury to endothelial cell, endothelial injury mediated by the leukocyte, and third one is neovasculature and leakiness. So we will first see the contraction of endothelial cells. So as we can see that when the endothelial cells are perfectly set in line to line arrangement, there is no gaps between them. But when these endothelial cells get contracted, they will produce the gaps between the cells, and these gaps can be available for the increased leakiness of the endothelial cell or vasculature. So here in the figure also you can see that the 2 drops are coming out of the gaps, that is what? Showing the contraction and leakiness. The one cell has been contracted so that it has created the gaps in between, and that's why it is possible to come out the drops from that. Drops means molecules to come out from that. So that is showing that there is the increased permeability. Now this is mainly affecting to the vanules. Microvasculature में किसको affect करेगा? Vanules. After that, through which it is mediated? It is mediated through histamine, bradykinin and other chemical mediation. Then it is of short duration. If leakiness is increased due to contraction, then it will be of short duration, that is up to 15 to 30 minutes, and that will be seen immediate after the injury. When contraction is there, then it is seen immediate after the injury. Another mechanism is retraction of endothelial cell. Retraction, when the cell reorganize of its cytoskeleton, okay, at that time also there is the little bit change in its shape, and that's why there will be the formation of gaps in between the endothelial cells, and this will be reversible retraction at the intracellular junction. This retraction is mediated by cytokines such as interleukin 1, tumor necrosis factor alpha. Okay, now the next mechanism is direct injury to endothelial cell. When endothelial cell gets injured due to the any causes, any cellular injury, okay, direct injury to endothelial cell, there will be appearance of physical gaps. Mainly this causes the cell necrosis. Mainly this is caused by the cell necrosis. Now when there is the direct injury to the endothelial cell, at the site of injury it gives initiation of formation of thrombosis also. Okay, and this type of direct injury to the endothelial cell type of mechanism can affect to all the microvasculature, means it will involve arterioles also, venules also and capillaries also. Now these either appear immediately or the delay. When it appears immediately, it lasts for several hours, and majorly this immediate response of this direct injury is seen in severe bacterial infection, while when this gives a delay response, means after 2 to 12 hours, this lasts for hours or days, and this is seen in moderate thermal injury and radiation injury. Means when bacterial infection is there, the direct injury happens to the endothelial cell and this response is seen immediate, while in a moderate thermal injury or radiation injury, this response is seen after 2 to 12 hours. The next, another is endothelial injury mediated by leukocyte. Here also there will be the injury to the endothelial cells only, but this will be mediated by the leukocyte. When leukocyte adhere to the endothelium site of inflammation, there will be the activation of leukocyte. And when these leukocytes get activated, they release proteolytic enzymes and toxic oxygen. This proteolytic enzyme and toxic oxygen will cause the injury to the endothelial cells and will increase the vascular leakiness. Now, this mostly affect the venules, and this is having the late response mainly. Next is leakiness and neovascularization. When there is the newly formed capillaries are under the influence of vascular endothelial growth factor, this process of repair and in tumors are excessively leaky. This is seen in this repair and tumors processes. When there is the tumor or when there is a process of repair is going on, and when there are the newly formed vasculature is there, that is called as neovascularization. When there is such type of vascularization is present, there will be the more leakiness will be there. So in that portion also you can say you can see the inflammatory response. Okay, so this is what about the vascular events. We have seen hemodynamic changes and increased vascular permeabilities mechanism. So with that the vascular events get over. Now the next topic is cellular events. So in mechanism of inflammation we are moving towards the next, that is the cellular event. Now the cellular events consist of the two processes. The first one is exudation of leukocyte and another one is the phagocytosis. So firstly we will be seeing the exudation of leukocyte. Now exudation of leukocyte mainly contain the 4 steps or 4 stages. In that, the first one is changes in formed elements of blood. second one is rolling and adhesion, the third one is immigration, and fourth one is chemotaxis. The fourth one is chemotaxis. Now firstly we will be see the changes in formed elements. Now here I will show you first the image in which you can see that the first fraction is showing the normal blood flow. In normal blood flow, you can see that mainly the cellular portion, the cellular components means red blood cells, leukocytes, neutrophils are in the central stream, while the periphery is free layer of plasma in which no cells are there, only plasma is there, and that is close to vessel wall. Now later on, inflammatory response, when the exudation has been come out of the vasculature in the extracellular space, there will be lack of plasma inside the vessel, and this will give expand or widening of the central stream. Means what happens here, you can see that the cell has been come into the wide stream, means the cellular portion or cellular components have widened and they have started moving towards the endothelial walls or peripheral walls. So the central stream gets widened. Due to that, plasma portion or plasma zone getting narrow. So central stream widens and plasma zone getting narrowed. Now after that, when these central cellular components get closer towards the periphery or they come close to the vessel wall, this process is called as pavementing. What it is called? It is called pavementing. While the narrowing of plasma zone is called as margination. Okay, so both processes combinedly called as margination and pavementing. Next process is rolling and adhesion. What is rolling and adhesion? When these cells come near to the cell wall, they start rolling over the endothelial cells of blood vessels wall. When they start rolling over there, the neutrophils makes one transient bond between them, leukocyte and endothelial cells. Now due to this, the rolling becomes more firmer, and this process is called as adhesion phase. Now due to this adhesion, when the molecules roll over, they will remain near the endothelial cells only. Now they keep moving on that. Now this adhesion and rolling phase can be brought out by the molecules like selectin, integrins, immunoglobulin gene superfamily adhesion molecules. Okay. Now after the rolling and adhesion, rolling keeps continue until they find a suitable site between the endothelial cell where the neutrophils can throw out cytoplasmic pseudopods. Okay, so until they find this such site, they keep sticking and rolling on the endothelial cell. Now when they escape through this endothelial cell gap, they will cross the basement membrane also by damaging it. Okay, now by damaging it locally, and collagenesis and escape out into that extravascular space also. This process is called as immigration. This process is called as what? Immigration. Now when they damage this basement layer, here it get repairs again. Now when the neutrophils damage it, it repairs in 2 to 4 hours, while it repairs in 24 hours, while in macrophages, when macrophages damage it, it repairs in 24 to 48 hours. Now when the immigration of leukocytes is there, after the immigration of leukocytes, some of the red blood cells also escape out through the gaps between the endothelial cell. Okay, now this is similar to scene like the hemorrhagic appearance. Okay, hemorrhagic appearance gives this. Here also you can see the raised hydrostatic pressure, and due to that only the red blood cells also comes out from the endothelial gaps. This is not a hemorrhage, but it gives a hemorrhagic appearance. Then what it is called? It is called as diapedesis. It is called as diapedesis. Now, the last stage of cellular event is chemotaxis. Is what? Chemotaxis. Now, chemotaxis is what? After the leukocyte gets come out of the blood vessel, they start migration towards the site of injury or site of infection along with the chemical gradient. This process is called as chemotaxis. Now, this process need to cross the several barriers like endothelium, basement membrane, perivascular myofibroblast, and matrix and all. So, to carry forward this chemotaxis, some of these substances help to neutrophils to go under this process. So, such substances are called chemotactic substance or chemokines for neutrophils. So here are some of the chemokines which are helpful for the carry out of the chemotaxis for the neutrophils, that is leukotriene B4, components of complementary system, that is C5a and C3a, then cytokines, then interleukins. In particular, interleukin 8 is helpful in the chemotaxis. Now, with this, the first portion of the cellular event is over. Now, the second process is phagocytosis. Now, phagocytosis means what? It is an engulfment of solid particulate material, that is by the cells, and it is done by the two types of cell mainly, which are called as phagocytes or phagocytic cell. Okay, so which are these two types of cell? Okay, so phagocytes are two types, that are polymorph nuclear neutrophils, okay, and another is macrophages. Polymorph nuclear neutrophils that are seen in early response of acute inflammation and also known as microphages, while macrophages that are circulating monocyte and fixed tissue mononuclear phagocytes. Okay, these phagocytic cell releases proteolytic enzymes like lysosome, protease, collagenase, elastase, lipase, and etc., which then degrade the material which has been engulfed, like injurious agent or the infectious agent. Okay, so this one helps to eliminate or limit the spread of injurious agent. Now, we will going to see the process of phagocytosis. Now, phagocytosis again contains the three steps of processes. That is, first one is recognition and attachment, second is engulfment, third one is killing and degradation. So first one is the recognition and attachment process. Firstly, when the phagocytosis is initiated by the expression of the surface receptor on macrophages. Okay, so firstly, how it is initiated? It is initiated by the expression of the surface receptor on the macrophages. Two types of receptors are there. The first one is the Mannose receptor and second one is the scavenger receptor. These two receptors are expressed on the surface of the macrophages. Now, in further enhance, the microorganisms are coated with the specific proteins called opsonin. Now, they establish this opsonin. With the help of this opsonin, the macrophages can identify the microorganism. Now, there will be the establishment of a bond between the bacteria and the cell membrane of phagocytic cell, and with this they start attaching to the each other. Now, the major opsonins are IgG opsonin, C3b opsonin, and lectins. When there is the formation of bond is there, after that the second process gets started, that is called as engulfment. Now, when engulfment starts, okay, it starts with the formation of pseudopods around the particle. Whatever the particles that are either infectious material or the injurious agent, the pseudopods start forming around the particle, and there will be that is due to the activation of actin filaments around the cell wall. Okay, now when these pseudopods get when these pseudopods start forming and covering to the particle, after that they form a vacuole that is called as phagocytic vacuole. Okay, when the vacuole is formed, eventually this vacuole gets the particle inside the cytoplasm. After that, slowly the plasma membrane get lysed and fused with the nearby lysosome, which is called as phagolysosome. So by this way, the engulfment of particulate inside the phagocyte is done. After that, the next process is killing and degradation. Okay. So in killing and degradation process, what happens? The microorganisms are killed by antibacterial substances that are released by the macrophages. Majorly these are happens by the scavenger cells, which are giving the secretion of hydrolytic enzymes and will kill the microorganisms. When sometimes this process fails to kill and so that they degrade some of the bacteria like tuberculosis, so at that time degradation word is used. Now degradation can be done by the various processes. Some of them are intracellular and some of them are extracellular processes. So that we will see into the next lecture. Up to this, we have covered again one of the small revision that we have seen about the mechanism of acute inflammation. In that we had started with the vascular events. In vascular events, we had seen the hemodynamic changes and altered permeability. After that, we had started with the cellular events. In cellular event, we had started exudation of leukocytes, and after that we had seen phagocytosis. Now for the degradation processes, we will see into the next lecture. Till that, stay home, stay safe, have a good day.